Hello and welcome to week 7. So this week, as we are going to be finishing up the health and safety portion of the course, we are going to get into your next assignment, which is going to be the observation. So obviously things are a little bit different now because of COVID-19. So traditionally we've had students go into a classroom for 2 hours and do their observation in the classroom. If you are able to still do that, then that obviously is our first choice. But if you are unable to get into a classroom, then we do have an alternative method to completing the observation. So I wanted to spend some time going over the assignment, which does not change depending on whether you are in a classroom or if you're going to do it using the alternative method. And just explain how you can fill in the table if you're not able to get into a classroom. So if you look at our module for this week, you're going to see that the observation instructions are here, and so I'm going to go over those. And then this is a 3-point PowerPoint that's going to give you some great information that you could potentially use in your actual observation assignment. But if you go to the observation instructions, you're going to see that there is an instructions and grading rubric page. If you are going into a classroom, then there is an observation letter that you can give to the teacher or the director so that they understand what it is that you're going to be doing. And then this is the template that you can use when you are ready to write up your notes and submit. So I actually already have some of these open. So if you look at the instructions, like I said, I'm going to go through the assignment as though you're going into a traditional classroom, but then I will show you how to complete it alternatively if you're not able to get into a classroom. So basically what we would ask you to do is go into a classroom birth to 8, so that you can take a look at the different features that are in the classroom, how they're doing with health and safety factors in the classroom. So after everything we've done up to this point, you looked at caring for our children, you looked at ECHRs, you have gotten a lot of information about what you should be seeing in a classroom, and this is your opportunity to put it into practice. So if you are not sure where you could go, there are some links. You can look on the DSS website, and that will give you all of the centers that are licensed. But basically what you are doing is you're filling out a table. And that is what you will do regardless of whether you go into a classroom or if you are having to do it alternatively. So if you make sure that you put your name, if you go to a place that is allowing you to come in and observe, then make sure that you put down the program name, any of the features they have of high quality, so if they're participating in Virginia Quality, if they're NACE accredited, but at a bare minimum, they should be licensed by the state, so that's the VDSS licensed. The age of the children that are in that classroom, the date, the time, things like that. But then you're going to look and you're going to see, you're looking at space and furnishings, you're looking at light and ventilation, accessibility, safety, lots of safety, room arrangement, materials, centers, furnishings, napping, toileting, lunch or snack, hand washing, gross motor, interactions. So as you are doing your observation, what you're going to be looking for is how are they meeting these indicators? So be as detailed as possible, because that's really going to help you as you write up your summary and analysis at the end. So each one of these have their own bullet points of things that you should be looking for. So really what I'm hoping is you're looking, as you're turning your assignment in, all of these should be fairly detailed, describing what it is that you saw. When you are done, then you're going to write up your summary. I will tell you that the instructions say that your summary should be between 2 and 5 pages. This is not like one sentence of things they did well, one sentence of an area that they need to improve, and one sentence of suggestions. This is your opportunity to show how much you've learned about health and safety factors in the classroom. So I really am expecting a detailed analysis. So you can kind of start off with a description of where you were observing, but then I really want you to get into detail about what it is that you saw. So like I said, most people are between 2 and 5 pages. I would say most people are probably between 2 and 3, but I really am going to be looking a lot at your summary because that's the application of the material, and that's what I think is so important. So regardless of whether or not you're going into a classroom or if you're going to use the alternative method, you are still going to be filling in this chart and the analysis. Now, that being said, if you are unable to get into a classroom, the alternative method is going to require you to actually spend some time on your computer. So you are either going to be looking for a virtual tour of a classroom so that you can see like how they have things set up, interactions between the teachers. You basically are going to have to be filling in your chart based on what you can find that's available to you online. So basically what I have found has worked for students is if they are able to find a virtual tour of a classroom, and there are some suggestions here, just Googling preschool classroom tour, infant classroom tour, toddler classroom tour, Montessori classroom, something like that. What I would suggest is get as much information as you can from that video, and then whatever you were not able to find, that's where you're going to supplement. So let's say that you were able to find almost everything, but you weren't able to see like how they laid their cots out for napping. What you're going to need to do is either find a video that talks about how the cot should be spaced out during napping, whether or not you find a resource that says this is what's supposed to be happening, but every single one of those blanks still has to be filled in. So just make sure that you are documenting where you're getting your information from. So if you were able to do a classroom tour, then every place that you were using information, you're just going to want to put video preschool classroom tour. And then any place that you are supplementing with it, so if you're finding pictures of materials, you would want to put pictures found at the Kaplan website. But just because you can't get into a classroom doesn't mean that you can't complete this assignment fully. So you will see under the alternative methods of instructions, there's lots of ways that you can do it. And my colleague over at the Portsmouth campus, she actually created a tutorial video about how to do this. And so that's what this is, this video down here at the bottom. So regardless of whether or not you go into a classroom or you complete it virtually, the expectation is still the same. The entire chart needs to be filled in with lots of details, and your summary and analysis needs to be pretty detailed as well. So like I said, during this time, we're really having to be flexible. We're having to really try and think outside the box so that students are still getting the same information and experience even if they can't get into a classroom. So hopefully you will enjoy this assignment. It's one of my favorite assignments because I think that it just allows you to use the information that you've been learning about and actually put it into practice. So like I said, hopefully you would be able to find a place to go. I know there are some centers that are accepting students. But don't be discouraged if the places that you call say that you can't. There is the alternative method. So you have several weeks to get this done. It's not like it's due next week, but I would not put off working on this, especially if you are trying to get into a center. If you are already working in an educational setting, then you are absolutely welcome to use that facility for your observation. Ideally, you would want to do it in a different classroom than the one that you work in, just because it's kind of neat to look at something different and to be able to be as objective as possible. But if you have access to a classroom, then I would definitely recommend trying to do your observation that way. But rest assured that if you can't, we have provided those alternative methods. So have a great time as you start working on this observation. Don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. And I will see you next week as we get into our next unit.